Okay, let's start with this. I know what everyone's thinking. Does Caleb have NBA aspirations? And the answer is no. I think football is his calling. Did you see the three-point contest?
Yeah. Did you feel better? Were you worried?
Well, I sent him a meme of a guy just missing left and right, like before, and then when it actually happened, I felt bad. Whoops. Spoke that one into existence, didn't I?
Okay. The world is full of fraud, and the greatest offender, NFL teams. The New York Football Giants and the New York not that good at football Jets play in New Jersey. The San Francisco 49ers play in Santa Clara. The Washington Commanders, nay, the Washington football team currently play in Maryland. And the Kansas City Chiefs are about to move to Kansas and won't rename themselves the Kansas State Chiefs. And now the G.D. Hammond, Indiana people are trying to steal the Chicago Bears. We must resist. So, what have we learned about the Bears these past few weeks?
So before we get into that, I do want to address the three-point contest, which I tried to watch. I could not, which we've talked about in another podcast. But that meme that actually Ben Johnson was referring to is actually done by former Bear Anthony Adams. So it was, it's just him bricking up a bunch of shots. It's a little Bears on Bears violence there. But I don't think we learned a ton in terms of the stadium stuff. It seems still like a lot of posturing. I've always said from the beginning that I don't think McCaskey was super serious about moving the team to Indiana. It was just kind of a leverage play, but then it became really enticing, right? You had to have that next conversation because they were basically giving the Bears everything they wanted.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, I don't have a reason to keep saying no. So they keep having these meetings, and Illinois is continuing to play hardball. They're coming to the table. Even they were supposed to talk about this mega bill, and they didn't do it. And so I don't know. Illinois still seems like they're messing around because they don't think that the Bears will actually leave. A large part of it is they still own the land in Arlington Heights. Like the Bears, for better or worse, bought this piece of land without a plan in place. And so now they have this, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of land that they're still going to have to pay tax on, regardless of whether they build a stadium there or not. So are you going to have that as a sunken cost and move to Indiana, where you will get a lot more? Now, some of the Indiana residents have been chirping. They don't want to pay as much. They don't want higher taxes either. So I don't know. It's just really, we're just not anywhere. And at the end of the day, I still think they're going to end up in Arlington Heights. So,
yeah. It is just kind of looking at truly how many teams don't play in the namesake.
It doesn't matter.
Like that's just like none of that stuff. I mean, I kind of sort of half-heartedly called it fraud, but it is like kind of crazy to actually think about how many teams don't play in the city that their name is in.
Dallas plays in Fort Worth. They don't even play in Dallas, right? So
So I guess to the you start at first it's like this would never happen in your brain, and then it's like, well, this could very realistically happen because many teams just go anywhere anyways. I did in a group chat with Lone Star Daddy and the man who has no podcast nickname /Abel. We have all kind of committed to maybe never watching the Bears ever again if they do move outside of state line. So there is a pretty serious
you guys are all full of it. You'll all watch. Empty threats. Actually, Hammond is closer to Chicago than Arlington Heights is. Proximity wise.
Yeah, I've actually biked out to Hammond.
There you go.
But I just there is like the thing that really does end up riding up with this is sort of that same feeling of like being in the suburbs, claiming Chicago, leaving the city, like all of that. I think is like all of the like outside of the business, moves and the reasons and the value and all that shit. There's like a very like emotional reaction.
Absolutely, I get it.
Rises up.
I get it. Your team's not in your home state anymore. But there's other benefits too, like the tax. We get to root for a team that doesn't tax us. like Indiana paying for all the Bears taxes, and we get to reap the benefits of that. Players also, maybe it's more enticing free agent destination because the taxes in Indiana are much lower, and you get your game checks are taxed based on where your home state stadium is.
Yeah.
So that could be an enticing thing as well. At the end of the day, like, would I want them to stay in Illinois? Of course. I think I just from that homey kind of feeling, I might be upset for an hour if they move to Indiana, and then I'll just move on with my life.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how I act. My heart right now says that I may never watch them again. We'll see. Ask me again when it actually happens.
Wow. I mean, if they change their name, then yeah, I would probably have an issue with that. But if they're still the Chicago Bears and, they're like 15 miles down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the homer in me that's gonna, I think, rise up really high and be like, F this team forever, dude. I don't care you've left. I appreciate everything you've done, but thank you. But we'll see, we'll see what actually
where your
happens.
emotions land. It's hard to predict.
Who knows where my emotions are different from day to day,
Who knows?
It's just crazy. I didn't think it was real, and now here we are, thinking that there's an actual possibility. Do they have what's the like it's still like a couple years down the road of a decision that's going to be made, like of when it's actually going to happen. Yeah.
Probably. I think, the decision is not a couple years away. I would say the actual construction and facilitation of that is a couple years away. Yeah. But I would imagine the decision to happen sometime in 2026, hopefully before the summer's over.
I mean, truthfully, dude, as much as like this is all obviously like Chicago homery type shit, but even like the feelings of like, how would I feel if a championship was won in Arlington Heights? I mean, my gut says it wouldn't feel as good as like, and I know it's kind of this same, but like, so even Arlington Heights, all basically any move outside of the city, I think my like.
Well, that's not gonna. Yeah, the city is probably the third option.
I know. And so it's just like I can kind of feel it in my like bones. And I know, this is all outside of any real reason why you should leave the city and the city being difficult and the state being difficult and all that shit. Like, I think I just like really want it here, and it's not going to feel as good if it happens elsewhere.
Well, the parade is still going to be in the city. It's not like a parade if they win a championship is going to be in Hammond, Indiana.
Does that make me feel better that the parade will be in the city? I don't know.
It should.
I mean,
you're actually closer. You live closer to Hammond, Indiana.
And obviously, as I was sitting thinking about how do I feel about this, it's like, borders are kind of imaginary anyway, so does it really matter where anything is? And also,
depends who you ask.
It does depend who you. I do want to, just as much as I don't want the Bears to go to Hammond, Indiana, that bike ride from the city over to Hammond, Indiana, and 18th Street Brewery, which is like in Indiana, it's beautiful. And the path to get from Illinois into Indiana is over like Wolf Lake, and it's stunning. So I do highly recommend that.
There you go. Now, bike to Bears games.
Do I want the Bears to be there?
No, bike there.
I want them to be in the city forever, renting forever. I'm happy. So,
I get it.
Okay, so that's the move stuff. There's been kind of whispers, rumors of Maxx Crosby, sort of maybe the odds are changing.
Depending on when you're listening to this, it's either happened or it's never going to happen. But right now we are recording Tuesday afternoon, and it's a lot of smoke. A lot of smoke. I'm refreshing my X, just to see if anything's happened, and nothing yet. Nothing so far.
Okay, so has your sort of feelings about what it would cost for him to us, what it would cost for, how do I say, have your feelings shifted of like the cost of getting him, the value of him, any of that stuff like shifted over time?
I mean, of course you want to add him to your team, right? He's an impact player, and it's just like, how much are you willing to give up to add him to your team, right?
Yeah.
I think everybody would agree they would like Maxx Crosby, but at what price? And so if it's the Micah Parsons price, which was 2 1s and an impact player, seems a little rich. I don't think they're going to do that, nor would I necessarily want them to do that. But there's different creative packages, like a 1, DJ Moore, and next year's 2. That's been thrown around, and I think that's something I would find appealing, right? They need to move DJ's salary anyway. or, and I don't think this is likely at all, but it's like DJ, Tremaine Edmonds, a one, right? And then maybe like a four or something. Does that get it done? If Bulls can somehow offload Tremaine and DJ and minimize giving up draft capital to get Maxx Crosby, I mean, we did that top 10 best moves thing. The Hall was number one. This would be number two.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because that would be a spectacular move. So I think it all depends on what they're able to give up. I do think that they should not hesitate to try to make an impact, because you have your coach, you have your quarterback. The quarterback's cheap. Try to win, right? Try to win. There's no reason to kind of hold out. And if you have to give up a one, you're at 20. You're picking at 25. It's not like you're giving up a one, picking in the top 10 or something like that. Will there still be impact players there? Yes, they will be, but it's kind of the price you pay. I did read some stuff, and who knows what's true and what isn't, but that the Bears are really working on Tyson Bagent as kind of like that first domino to fall, because they feel like they can get a two. They're hoping for a two, but maybe they can get a three, and maybe they can use that as part of a package, either to get somebody like Crosby or feel better about the draft capital they have to give up something a little bit higher to go get him. So seems like the Jets and Cardinals are maybe interested in Tyson Bagent from what I'm reading. So kind of just waiting for some dominoes to fall. We know that Poles, he's the opposite of Ryan Pace. Pace will, if he wants something, he'll meet you there to go get it, right? Poles is more like, here's what I'm willing to give. Are you going to meet me there? And he's willing to let go of that player if his guardrails aren't up. Now, how much of that was Ian Cunningham? I guess we'll find out, because Cunningham is no longer with the Bears. He's on the Falcons. But I imagine Poles will probably stay disciplined. And if it's not a deal he likes, he's totally fine with trading for another edge rusher, or maybe going after Trey Hendrickson if that's a possibility, or Jalen Phillips, or there's Jonathan Franklin Myers. There's actually a decent crop that's out there. Just nobody on that Crosby level.
Yeah. I was thinking about, as like DJ Moore's name's been floating around, and his role on the Bears kind of being sort of that like Iron Man person, like who, like he is, I guess, I don't know if expendable is the right word, but there's like a lot of other sort of receivers sort of stepping up in that space to take over, being like the dude, and I already kind of highlighted that Iron Man role kind of plays an important role in who steps up or what do they get. I mean, I don't think that that's like hard necessarily, and you could get it for cheaper maybe than a DJ Moore type player. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anyone on the Bears that you think could potentially sort of like fall into that like DJ Moore Iron Man role if he does get like sort of moved over the next couple weeks?
Oh yeah, I mean, you got Luther Burden, who I think is going to emerge as like the main yards after catch guy, and kind of fill in that spot. I think between him and Rome and Colston, you have three pretty good pass catchers. Cole can be a pass catcher, though that's not necessarily his primary role anymore. And you still got players like Jade Walker, and then you can sign people like Olamide Zaccheaus, right? Those kind of third type of receivers that can fill that void. You don't have to pay that $15 million or however much DJ is making for what could be a third option, right? Or maybe even a fourth option on your team. You can find somebody much cheaper to do that. So I think that's kind of what they're looking at. Would they love to keep DJ in a vacuum? Yeah, but for the money he's making and the timeline and the target shares, they could use that money elsewhere, like on the defensive side of the ball.
So it seems like there's a pretty high likelihood that he might be on the move, especially for like sort of grander opportunities.
I think so. Same thing with Tremaine Edmonds. He frees up $8 million in cap space, and he was hurt a little bit. When he came back, he wasn't very good. Linebackers, they can draft some. It's a very good linebacker draft class. So even if they wait to the second, third rounds, they can get a good linebacker. Marco Jackson performed pretty well last year.
Yeah.
Probably needed two linebackers, honestly, because TJ Edwards hurt his foot in the playoff game, and he's probably not going to be back for most of 2026. So there's a revamping that needs to happen there as well. Noah Sewell, I think, ruptured his Achilles. So like we got some work to do there, but I imagine that they'll invest. They want to clear up offensive, cap space if they can to get some more defensive guys in the locker room.
Yeah. Okay. So as we kind of get ready to kind of close out this episode, so as someone like myself who finds not necessarily like it's like the last couple weeks have been almost boring from a Bears front because it's been quiet, but in like
It has, yeah.
such a good way because since we started this, it's been basically every week since the moment we started this has been so high octane that like this quiet has been almost like not that I feel disconnected, but like kind of like nothing major has been
Yeah,
happening, which I think is
yeah.
good in many, many ways because it's like an element of stability, which is nice. And like we
You're
can
right. We're not talking about coaching changes, right? We're not
yeah.
talking about how's this guy going to mesh with this guy. We're not talking about top 10 picks or trades that they should make to get into the top 10 to get a quarterback. It's like, okay, it's all like kind of periphery stuff, and we'll
Yeah.
see how it shakes out. They have options, right? If they don't have to get one guy or have to get another guy, there's some options that are available to them. So it's been nice.
Yeah. So as someone like myself who's like just sort of sitting and waiting kind of in before the draft and all that, what would like how could I Bears fill up my time? What are things that I should be looking at? I know there was this man, I don't know his name. I wish I remembered. He was running the 40 with a big red mullet. So I've just been watching his highlights over and over again. Some beast of a man. I don't even know if the Bears are trying to get him, but he just looked awesome. So I've been kind of
Oh
filling
yeah.
my time with this mulleted man. But what should I be kind of looking for? How do I peruse? How do I kind of like yeah, fill this time as a Bears fan, kind of waiting.
I mean, you just yeah, you don't have to do anything, man. We can just look at some mock drafts. We pick 25, see who's there. There's been a lot of defensive linemen there, either Caleb Banks or Cade McDonald or Peter Woods is one that I've seen now more than any other name. It looks like defensive tackle is kind of the way to go for the Bears that they're getting mocked to anyway, because I think edge is a little bit deeper. And so if they end up keeping all their picks, it seems likely they'll go tackle round one, edge, or linebacker round two, depending on what they address in free agency and what they don't. So yeah, just kind of see if you see some similar names on some mock drafts. Did a great draft preview with Jacob Infante on Bears on Tap, so you can check that out. We go into a lot of detail on different players that could be available for the Bears at 25. And then yeah, just keep following the rumor mill. It's kind of fun to see what comes out. I wouldn't put too much stock in it because everybody says a lot of things to try to get engagement. So don't believe anything until you actually see it
Yeah.
from a reliable source. But it's fun to kind of see where the smoke's at.
Yeah, it is like, yeah, as I was looking at all this Maxx Crosby stuff, I was like, who's determining these odds? What do they know? Yeah, do a quick little check before we close out today. Is he a Bear now?
Yeah. No, no, not yet.
Still living out in LA or Oakland or wherever he's at.
I mean, Albert Breer said he thinks that Crosby will get traded and the Bears are going to trade for him. But once again, that's just speculation. Not sure if any of that is true or not.
Are we going on
yeah.
the record as Bears in the neighborhood and saying we also speculate that he will be traded to the Bears?
Uh, yeah, why not? Why not?
You heard it here first after Albert Breer. Maxx Crosby will be traded to
You
the
know,
Chicago Bears.
in a why not kind of thing. Because it's fun. It's fun.
Okay, where can people find you, listen to you, see you, hear you, think about you?
Yeah, yeah.
All that.
On Tap Sportsnet is where I do all my Bears content, specifically Bears on Tap. So do podcasts usually every Tuesday. So you can check us out there. They're live. So whenever you get that notification, just jump in and listen. Otherwise, all my articles are out there. I haven't written one in a while though. Probably we'll see what comes up in free agency or trades, and then probably have some more stuff out there. So yeah, and I post all that stuff at X at SMPatel06.
Amazing. I am now sort of not on Instagram again. So, anyways, I'm back and forth per the wind. But I got two shows this month. Tuesday, March 10th at 7:30 at the Bughouse Theater with my team Slugs, and then Saturday, March 21st at 9:30 with my other team, me and Zazzle. We'll be doing some improv. And also we should shout out the Bulls for losing every game in February and finally winning a game in March. And I think at some point they went on a 27-0 run in that game. So, they deserve a little shine.
Do you know why? Do you know why they won the 27 over?
No.
Because Ben Johnson was in the house.
Oh, yeah, he almost took his shirt off.
Yeah.
See,
he inspired them. Never out of it.
That man is the city charm.
He is.
Okay. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, sir.
For Samir Patel, I am Chirag Rathod. We are the Bears in the Neighborhood, your weekly insight into the Chicago Bears, who will not move to Arlington Heights and not move to Indiana in under 30 minutes. And we will catch you all next week.
Welcome, Max. I'll be the first to say it.